experts tell us that there has been a seminal improvement in the MSME sector, and that's what we have been discussing with four experts: Rajesh Kumar of Transunion CIBIL, Dhrubashish Bhattacharya of Bank of Baroda, Vivek Tripathi of AU Small Finance Bank, and Mr. S. Ramann, the Chair and Managing Director of SIDBI. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience, for waiting by. Rajesh, you know, the account aggregator is on the anvil. I mean, it's a budding idea. Have you already, I mean, at CIBIL, are you able to use more data? And are you therefore able to get more MSMEs in your ken?
Oh, absolutely, Lata. As I mentioned earlier, when it comes to this segment, the real problem that we are trying to solve is the easy availability of relevant data. So thanks to account aggregator framework now, we can use all the GSTN data, which is a trade level invoice data, and then we're getting bank statements. So we can triangulate the sales or purchase invoice versus the versus a credit or debit in a bank statement. And then all of this coming together with the financials being filed at MCA. So we've recently launched a product, in fact, mentored by SIDBI. And all of this should lead to touch upon one earlier point, that formalization. Look, today we are talking about 7 to 8 crore MSMEs. That would be the approximate number, the recent number. And then on the other hand, the ever credited MSMEs who got some credit historically is at about 2.5 crores, which means we are talking about another 5 crore MSMEs. A lot of them will come into the micro and very small segment. Traditionally, if you see, the credit that they operate on is actually trade credit. So most of the small traders, for example, or the shopkeepers, they all get 30 days credit from their distributors, right? And it's really not the most efficient way of assessing credit by lenders today. But with all this digital infrastructure that we're talking about, all of that can come into the formal lending system because we have all the relevant data.
Okay. No, has some of it already come? You're saying that you're already using GSTN data, is it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We call this the FIT rank, coincidentally, which is financial, income and trade information.
Okay. And that has led to a larger number of smaller units being analyzable by you.
Oh, yeah, that's begun now. I think there's lots more work to be done in terms of taking it deeper into the market, and a lot of that is tech dependent. We are already investing a lot into that, but the initial response from the bankers has been really encouraging because in the end, it's making lending so much easier.
Fair enough. Mr. Ramann, on the same point, are you able to do more in terms of refinancing? What I'm trying to check out is not what will be possible, but as of now, because of the CGTMSE, because of other data that is being available, is SIDBI able to reach out to more people?
Yes, certainly. I think, one, the GSTN data has been used by everybody. And just to make a point, the account aggregator is actually up and running.
Okay.
It does require a little bit of further integration with GSTN, but on the bank statement side, it is completely up and running and people are using it. With regard to formalization, I'd really like to share with all of you a great initiative that the MSME Ministry has taken along with SIDBI. We're helping them by getting the entire banking and MFI ecosystem to bring in the informal entities into the formal sector. And this is really by giving them the Udyam registration certificate.
Okay.
This will bring them on board onto the digital platforms, after which a variety of other products could reach them. Of course, the banking sector will be extremely happy because the priority sector loan status will therefore not get disturbed, which today requires an Udyam registration certificate. So we have already worked out an ambitious plan wherein within the next 12 months, with the help of the banking sector and the MFIs, we should be able to bring on at least 2 crore entities which are informal today and bring them on to the Udyam registration portal. Following which there are innovative products which are being talked about. The Standing Committee of Finance talked about a Vyapar credit card. That has been worked with NPCI such that we have a genuine credit card for retail, for very small entities, for the tiny and the nano, so that we're giving them a genuine credit card which will work on the UPI. So at the end of it, you know, as a banking system, we need to look at how to wean the tiny and the nano sector away from the money lenders such that the interest rates that they are, sort of bearing become more reasonable.
Yeah.
So I think this is a very, very large initiative. And with regard to the refinance sector, that is something which is growing in leaps and bounds. Therefore, we are also, seeing the kind of credit uptake which the NBFCs and the banks are getting. And separately, SIDBI is working on a platform which is really a blockchain platform for helping us monitor the loans given by us to smaller NBFCs and MFIs such that our risk is lowered.
Okay.
So that's another very important piece going forward, which all the large lenders like SBI, NABARD, etc. are expected to join that platform.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're referring to Udayam Assist. That
Yes.
Program is helping, ensuring that the government helps micro enterprises to come on, register in the Udayam portal. Take your point on that. Okay, Mr. Bhattacharya, I wanted to know whether, the improvement is stuttering because of lack of growth. I mean, while formalization is bringing more people, is there any problem in terms of this K-shaped recovery, which is not leading the number of lenders into a number of borrowers into a flood? Do you see that problem at all, the growth slowdown or the K-shaped recovery?
So, yeah, so Lata, I think, see what has happened, you have to take these three segments separately. One is a micro, small, and medium. So today, if you see the formalization of credit largely applies to the micro segment. Today, medium segment is largely settled. They have left the worst behind and they are actually growing.
Okay.
Today, I think the impetus is required at the micro level. The micro borrowers is where they still have a hitch. They are still falling prey to the money lenders, local money lenders, and the intermediaries in the market. That's where we have to root them out. I think there's one big step which at Bank of Baroda, and I'm sure all the banks would have done, is that the business loan, typically that's a big chunk of credit which is being offered. And as Rajesh said, that the NTC, which is the new to credit, has increased manifold in the recent years. This is particularly in the business loan, unsecured business loan segment, which we are finding. That's a segment which typically the banks, particularly the public sector banks, were wary of. So I think those were the borrowers who were deprived of the a typical PSB loan. We are gearing up heavily into that. One, it has to be complete digital, end-to-end digital. And two, we are also taking the route of co-lending, which is another big initiative taken by RBI and the Government of India to kind of rope in these customers, wherein we will have a maximum outreach. I think the incremental, your graph was also showing that your migration from a micro to small and small to medium is happening. This will happen at a rapid pace, more and more inclusiveness if we show from the banks to involve these micro lenders. I think that's one area which government is very, very seriously working on, and we are backing that.
Yeah, I guess it's still a few steps away. Once Udayam Assist works, I guess you will have much more data. Vivek, you used the word K-shaped recovery, and that's what triggered this question in my mind. Would it be fair to say that an inflection point has been reached because the informal sector has been formalized somewhat because of GSTN, but the bigger leap will come only when growth really picks up? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, Lata, to an extent, it's a fair statement because the B2B segment, as I mentioned, that a lot of businesses which were part of the formal ecosystem, and that is why you would see there is a lot of traction on the demand from that segment. However, there are if you break it down into a two clear-cut segment, the linkages where it's related to infra push, where there is a linkages to the consumer staple, especially food, agro industry, that has been doing good. But the mass level market, segment where they cater to the bottom of pyramid consumer, end consumers, whether it's a manufacturing, whether it's a B2C businesses, those are yet to I would say grow significantly enough to generate demand. But things are improving rapidly at a grassroots level, which is indicated by many other factors. And obviously, the monsoon would play a bigger role, and there is early summer, and there could be impact on the wheat production.
Yes.
So all those other factors will also play a role in the demand, right?
Okay.
So going forward, that's our assessment on the ground.
Fair point, I think, and that's a realistic assessment. Let us be aware that rural demand could get pinched if we have an El Nino effect and if we have a prolonged summer and poor rains. Yes, that point is taken. Unfortunately, out of time, but I think I get enough encouragement from all of you and from the data that you have presented that the formalization process which GST engendered has led to a larger number of MSMEs getting credit. But the future inflection point, the trickle becoming a flood and a bigger flood, will depend, of course, on economic growth itself. And for that, of course, there are too many variables. Thank you very much for this cautious optimism on the growth of the MSME sector. That's it on this edition of Indianomics. Thanks for watching.